went from Deacon to whoever wants to have a go.
Yeah, very much.
So,
and then when we did get a kicker, it was at the cost of anybody who could defend legitimately. So, more than that later. But yeah, okay. Now we also we deployed the Google form this week, didn't we?
Yeah,
it's a great success.
Yeah, it's been good. Got a lot of people getting in touch with us. It made it easier for me, so I'd appreciate if those of you that are tweeting us want to start using
the Google form.
That'd be great. I have limited the amount of characters because some of these are quite long, and basically I was thinking it's great that we're getting so many people in touch with us, but we want to be able to talk about everyone's views without falling asleep by the end of the show.
Well, the thing is, if we get loads of people, because we're getting so many people in touch, we do have to kind of make sure that it's relatively concise.
Because we don't want to not put anyone's tweets in or messages in, basically. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
We want everyone to be included.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, so using the Google form, Henry Taylor got in touch with us. He says, a brilliant start to the 21st season of Super League. Big crowd, big tackles and some good skill. Shame the amount of errors from both sides. Shame the amount of errors from both sides, but strong defence forced many. Hardacre isn't a kicker. Tingy Radio got in touch and said maybe it is Warrington's year. Whoever chose Leeds' kick clearly went for custard yellow. Benjamin Julian impressed me. He looked very keen. Leeds looked stilted, especially through the middle. They weren't able to get gains there, which meant they couldn't bring the backline into play quickly enough. Gidley looks more up for it than I expected. It will be interesting to see if he stays interested throughout the season. I would suggest if he looks interested on a rainy Thursday night in Leeds, he probably will stay interested. Sando looked a lot leaner too, and the off-season looked to have settled him. Burrow was having to do too much without Danny McWinge, hence why he was out of gas at the end. I think Leeds will come good, pleasantly surprised by Wire. Ollie Smith, the new one, JK, got in touch with us. Not having Sir Kev clearly played on the young Rhinos' minds, and without Maguire we lacked any real leadership. Moments of nice attacking play, just need more direction, which will surely come with time. Fair play to Wolves for doing enough tonight.
Owen Hughes said maybe I just missed RL too much, but I really enjoyed that. No, I think it was enjoyable. Fair result, although wouldn't have been surprised if Leeds had taken it. Defence won it for Wire. Haven't missed Sky's commentary though.
Well, you've only got one more year of it, mate.
Unfortunately, I don't know when Eddie's going. He's the problem. Brian Davies got in touch on the Google form. More on Brian as we go along.
Oh, wow.
Fancy new form. Thought it was a great start to the season. Both defences were good, and Chris Sando looked like a totally different player to last year. His kick for the winner was superb. Leeds will be fine once they get used to not having Sinfield and Peacock to dig them out of trouble. Tyler Cass fans said Warrington looked more together team with great defence. They seem to have recruited well and worked hard pre-season to hit the ground running. Leeds were too predictable and missed Maguire's organisation in the second half. Need to work on combinations and find another kicker. Tom Eckley99, who's a Wolves fan, said he may have failed at smashing pies, but can we now all call Sando the Rhino Smasher? That's inappropriate as it may be at this time.
Yes, possibly.
P.S. Evans, Curry and Gidley were also outstanding. John Locke 01 said 10 solid start to the season. James Child once again tried to steal the show by inexplicably deciding not to refer the first Warrington try to the video ref. However, the game prevailed. From a Rhinos perspective, the Warrington defence was excellent, especially Evans and Curry. And with Maguire going off injured, our attack didn't click. Leeds unlucky to lose with chances to win, but can't complain about Wire taking it. Leeds will improve from this performance and still optimistic about the season.
Okay, Elliot Wrench got in touch with us. He said it was a tough start from both sides, with Wolves having the upper hand early on. This persistent play paid off with Sandow's converted try. 2 replies from Leeds saw them deservedly take the lead, but perhaps crucially Hardacre missed a conversion. Wolves kicking better than I thought. Wolves' kicking was better than I thought than Leeds, and after Penny scored, Gidley was sure-footed. There could have been a forward pass shout in the build-up to Penny's try, but the game went on. Hardacre's bad miss from the penalty with minutes to go for the important 2 points meant that the game swung back to Warrington. They held out and bagged a good away win. My man of the match was Ben Curry, solid throughout, and the tackle at the end was fantastic. Worthy mention to Jordan Lilly, he's going to make headlines this season. Also Gidley and Julien were good starts. We also got Railroad Drunk getting in touch with us, like your style.
It's a new one on me, but
controversial this. Controversial this. I thought James Child had a good, not great game. Well, no, we agree with you actually. Though Gidley and Cuthbertson could have been penalised for persistent messing around at the play of the ball. Both teams will improve, Leeds especially with finishing off try-scoring moves. Reluctance of Leeds to go for 2 points is understandable in view of the promise in their early attacking dominance, and maybe also Zach Hardaker is no Kevin Sinfield. Feel for Danny Maguire. Hope his knee injury is not as bad as it looked on TV. Warrington's defence has improved, and good scrambling organised by Gidley and Sandow put players in good positions to halt Leeds near their line. Rhys Evans was my man of the match. Alan Walker got in touch with us from over there in Barcelona. First match handling, but good game. First match handling, but good game.
I mean, some of the mistakes.
Pardon?
Some of the mistakes because of rusty players.
It just doesn't make sense. First match handling, but good game.
The handling was the
Right.
quality that you expect from the first match of the season.
Oh, I see. First match handling.
Yes.
I didn't know if you'd edited it wrong. Fair enough.
I didn't edit it at all. So if it reads like shit, it's because they've sent in something that reads like shit.
It says a great deal that I'm more inclined to believe that you fucked up somehow than it's anything to do with me not being able to read or Alan's sentence structure. First match handling, but a good game. Seems Maguire is not up to having the captain's armband. Made some poor decisions. Made some poor reffing decisions and lost the game. Please will you take over?
John Dyson said, cracking first game of the season. Well done, Warrington. Some superb defending at times. I'm not sure who John supports, but that's a really fair, succinct
assessment. Yeah.
Assessment. Mark Stever said, Leeds looked very rusty with ball in hand, and losing Maguire is a huge blow. Once again, obstruction raised its ugly head, and we witnessed another poor child performance. Dr. Bob Phillips said, toe-to-toe and defence as bright as Carl Ablett's shiny little smile. Sadly, Zach is not Kev, but Ryan Hall has set the standard for facial accessories.
It's quite something, that moustache, isn't it?
Andy Barker says, good season opener with defences on top. I slagged off Sando last season, but he already looks twice the player. Leeds missing the spark in attack, and a kicker needs to be found ASAP. John Hamilton said, alright lads, only found the podcast at the end of last year, but loving it so far. Saw the Leeds game and they looked a bit unsettled to me. Wolves gave away quite a few penalties that should have seen us come away with more points. Things will get slicker from Leeds as they settle in, I reckon, and the new young players looked good. Anyway, shame about the first result, but so glad summer rugby is back. Cheers for putting together a great podcast. Got any ideas on what's going on with Ryan Hall's facial hair?
I'm presuming he's lost a bet, John, to be honest with you, but he does these odd things.
Well, he always does his blonde hair once a year, doesn't he?
Yeah, gets the blonde hair dye out, doesn't he?
And then Mitchell Dart said, full credit to Warrington, especially Sandow and Curry were tremendous, and Evans thwarted us with some great stops on the line. Leeds looked rusty, and big test ahead during the next few weeks with Maguire out.
Fair enough. Okay.
Before we move on, shall we just cover this James Child performance sort of thing? We've already covered that before he did well. The obstruction decision, in my view, there was absolutely zero possibility in any fucking realm of existence that Carl Ablett was getting anywhere near Chris Sandow.
No, couldn't agree more.
But if it had gone up to the video ref, they probably would have had to overrule it because the guy did stop in the line.
Right. Yeah.
So letter of the law probably would have had to overrule it. I'm kind of glad that it was allowed to go because I think it rewarded the play rather than the never gonna happen defence.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, no. I mean, overall, I thought that James Child had a good game. Like I said, he did let things flow, but that's what he mean. Look, if he'd pinged every single bloody thing, we'd have been coming away from the going, oh god, he didn't let the game flow, and it was.
But you always land up thinking, well, he could have given that penalty there, he should have given that decision there, he could have gone to the video ref there. And if you were watching as a neutral, you'd be
which
like,
I was, and I
fair
enjoyed
enough.
it. Yeah.
We were doing so, whereas some other people were, which is totally fair.
Yes.
Totally fair.
I have to say that the overwhelming consensus for the people that were sat around me was that he wasn't having his best game ever.
Yeah.
But I kept that opinion to myself, given that I was on a free lunch. So, okay. Over at the KC Stadium, though, it was a big result for Hull FC and their newly assembled pack as they ran out 42 points to 20 victors over Salford, and they were 26 points to 6 ahead at half-time as well, Mark. It was a fantastic, dominant display from this Hull FC outfit. There's been no issues about them hitting the ground running, and they certainly seem exciting to watch. I watched back some of the tries on YouTube over the weekend, and there's a lot of real positive stuff knocking around Hull FC for me. There are some positives for Salford, but things I want to talk about with Hull FC. First of all, this forward pack laying a platform for some of their outside backs. Pritchard was heavily involved with a pass out to Mahe Fanua for his. Taylor came in and put a flick in for Jordan Thompson. Sika Manu set up Jack Logan. So these new guys, this new forward pack is doing stuff and getting some going for Hull FC. 8 different try scorers for Hull. That says to me that there's a platform there and that there's strike across the park.
Try scorers from all across the pitch though as well. That was the thing.
Yeah, left and right hand side they're going to be dangerous. There's some positives for me from Salford's point of view. Ben Murdoch-Masila, can we please teach Phil Clark to stop calling him Ben Murdoch-Masala? For the love of Christ, it makes him sound backward and stupid, but he's a monster and he was strong going forward for Salford. Junior Sow looked to have a good game as well. Niall Evans playing on the wing, he was coming in from the interchange bench. It looks from what I read online that they'd started with Gaz O'Brien at full back. I could be wrong, but he didn't seem to have the best game from the highlights I've seen, so I don't know what the thinking is behind that.
Sounds like a ridiculous decision. I don't know what Niall Evans has done wrong. He was player of the season last year. I can't fathom it. There's a lot of people who will put him in the dream team that'll be disappointed. But he came off the bench and scored a try.
And Gaz O'Brien's a scrum half, so I don't get it. And credit to Hull FC, there were definitely value for the win, I would say. Yeah,
I mean, big scoreline, and you've already covered the first point I was going to make about 8 tries from 8 different scorers.
8. Do you know what? That is one of the proudest moments of my Super League pod career, is that individually from my notes and then them actually translating into the stuff that you've put together makes me very proud of myself.
It did seem like some of the players off the interchange bench that did well on the stats, but Frank Pritchard didn't have to make much defence. He only had about 8 tackles in the game. So, Hull were massively dominant and they were able to bring in more reinforcements to sort of strengthen that position of dominance in the middle of the game as well. So it really bodes well for them.
Danny Houghton had a tremendous game as well. Some big, making meters rather than tackles as well.
I know, and with James Roby's injury, Danny Houghton is quickly getting signed up into everyone's Super League dream team as we record the podcast. Hull FC, they won on the numbers pretty much across the board, particularly with 371 more metres was probably the biggest win. The only stat they underperformed on was tackle success, only 87% across the team. Now, we did talk about last week how they were shit at scoring last year, but really good defensively. And maybe that's going to switch around this year. For their sake, I'm hoping it was just the fact that they were forced into nearly 100 fewer tackles than Salford were and really had the game won at half time, which meant they
switched off a touch,
eased off a bit. And there's a percentage skew ability when you're not making that many tackles. I mean, the 200 and something tackles they made is in the bottom 10% of all games in the last 2 years for a team making tackles.
Wow.
Individually, Danny Houghton.
That is a strong start. You've come strong with your stat game.
I had today off, didn't I, after the Super Bowl, so I had a bit more time. Danny Houghton with 2 try assists, 114 metres. Frank Pritchard with a try assist, 143 metres on his big debut. Josh Bowden with a try and 136 metres for Tuli Talanoa with a try and 139 metres. So like we say, contributions from all across the board. From a Salford perspective, Junior Sow, she mentioned 2 tries and a try assist. Josh Griffin scored a try and 158 metres running. Josh Jones has made a big impact. Not big enough for the Super League website to get the right picture of him on the website, but there you go. 5 tackles, 112 metres, 4 successful offloads, and Mark Flanagan putting a shift with 46 tackles.
Fantastic. Okay, so we got some Google Form action from you guys as well. Scoots 28 Matt, good to hear from you, Scoots. An excellent 60-minute performance from Hull. We need to make sure that we start playing for 80 minutes though. Pritchard was awesome and can't really fault anyone. Good to see Bowden and Green have made big improvements in their games. Rich Langley got in touch. He said it was a game of 4 quarters, the first 3 for Hull and the last one for Salford. FC showed some excellent attacking flair and defensive grit in the opening 60 minutes with Houghton, Talanoa and Pritchard leading the way. On the other side, Salford looked like a team who had only been put together, which they just about are. Late in the game, the sin binning of ex-FC favourite Tommy Lee ignited a Salford resurgence and FC's mini collapse, which Radders won't be happy with, and they could be some defensive drills added to this week's training before the trip to Lake Catalan. All the positives for FC were the performances of Green and Bowden, the young props playing like men who were aiming for a new contract. The old warhorse Price also stood out through injury, though injuries to him and Fanua could be a worry. Overall, he gives it a B+ performance for the Black and Whites in front of an encouraging 12,000 plus crowd. Okay, so on the other side of that, Willows Road got in touch with us, who's obviously a Salford fan. Gareth O'Brien got the nod at fullback ahead of Niall Eccles, which ruffled a few fans' feathers. With 9 debutants, we looked a bit of a rabbit in the headlights from the off. A Sarsfield knock-on from the kick-off set the tone. By half-time, the damage was done, 20 points adrift. Not all doom and gloom, though, as the second half score of 18-12 shows we did get in the game eventually. When we had the ball in hand, we played some expansive rugby. Ben Murdoch-Masilla looks like